Hi guys, and welcome back to Pass and Move. Today's episode is going to be the very first episode of my Mission Manchester United series. The series will be all about, restoring Manchester United as an elite Premier League team, competing for, every bit of glory, really. Nothing exceeding expectations. As you can see here, the board expect us to win the Premier Division, reach the final of the FA Cup, and they don't consider the EFL Cup important, but they do consider the Euro Cup to be a cup that we're expected to win. So really, we're not setting ourselves high expectations, but rather we're just meeting the board expectations, which, to be honest, if I must say myself, are a bit high. It seems like United in this Football Manager, 17 game, the expectations for United are a bit higher compared to past series. In terms of who's in our squad, I pretty much keep 2 players per position. So whoever makes the squad, we need to have 2 players per position according to the tactics. Generally, I haven't really changed too much in terms of the squad. Just quickly show you the transfers of what's been going on. So the only in is Mario Fernandes, an incredible right back. He's got the overall stats just everywhere, really. He's hardly got any weaknesses. We'll be playing him on a wing-back attack duty, so I don't think he's got any stat that's under 13 in terms of the attributes that are needed for the role. So he's an incredible buy. A little bit expensive, considering how much I would have liked to have paid for him. But Moscow were, really determined to get the 25 million fee. I haven't paid the entire fee, far as I know. I'm not sure how to check that, to be honest. But I haven't paid the entire fee in one go, so it's actually a lot less. I think I've paid 17.5 million up front, and then the rest comes on later on in a number of months. But more importantly, what goes on is actually the outs. So we've sold Ashley Young to Monaco, as well as Antonio Valencia. They were very keen on buying these 2 players. The reason why I sold Valencia was because I wasn't too happy about his crossing, and then when you try and play him in the fullback positions, he's his marking is not too great either. He's not a great defender. That's what we need him to be if he was going to play in that position. A couple of loans as well, but the only other transfer out was Fellaini, who we sold to Southampton. Really just didn't fit into our tactics at all. He's not a bad player by any means. He's actually got some decent stats for the roles that he's most comfortable with. Another big out was Morgan Schneider. And I did try to sell him, but unfortunately no one was interested in his fee as well as his wages. So we've loaned him out to Monaco. We've paid 80% of his wages. So really, some decent transfers. I'm keen on giving every player here a chance first before we decide on selling anyone. In terms of what's going on in the schedule, just a bunch of friendlies. In the beginning, it was just a couple of small clubs due to where we were training, where we had our training camp, which was in Singapore or Indonesia, if I'm not mistaken. I can't entirely remember what. But later on, we did a bit of a tour in Central Europe where we played the likes of Roma, PSG, Bayern, and PSV. So decent wins and some not too good draws. But then we had the game against Everton, which is the Rooney testimonial, so still a pre-season friendly. I was thinking about showing you guys the Community Shield game, but I felt like this wasn't really the first game of my career, and really what I consider to be the first competitive game is actually our first game of the season against Arsenal. Tough team to play against as our first game. We've got a bit of a tough run of fixtures in the beginning, but we should be able to make up for it later on in the season. But yeah, the game against Leicester wasn't too pleasing at all. They scored through an incredible run from Riyad Mahrez, who scored in the 9th minute, and then they scored a second goal from Luis Hernandez from a set piece. So really not pleasing at all. If you look at the overall match stats here, you can see that United we had much more, 4 times the shots on target they had, and much more shots, 20 more shots than they did in general as well. And we did keep onto the ball a bit better than they did. But unfortunately, all that matters is this scoreline right here. In terms of match stat as well, they managed to create 2 clear-cut chances, and my team didn't manage to create a clear-cut chance at all. We did have a bunch of half chances, which I'm a bit disappointed that we didn't convert. But overall, it's a Community Shield game. Doesn't matter too much. I would have liked to have started with a trophy, but there's not a massive trophy at all. It's a bit like the EFL Cup, and the real game starts here in Arsenal. In terms of the tactics itself, we will be playing with our best, what I consider our best 11. We've got Ibrahimovic up top, Mkhitaryan, Mata, and Marshall make the three that play in behind him. I'm keen on moving Marshall up front as well as Rashford, but for this season they'll be both playing as the inside forward on the left wing up until we move on Ibrahimovic and Rooney later on. As soon as they decline, Rooney I'm sure will start declining as well as Ibrahimovic just because of their age. But Rooney will probably be the first one to get kicked out of the door just because he's actually rated pretty lowly in this FM game. He's only a good player for most division sides, so he'll decline and he'll get worse, and eventually just move them on. Hopefully someone won't care too much about his wages, maybe a team from China or anything like of the like. And then normally we'd have Herrera and Pogba playing in midfield, Herrera holding it down for us as a deep-lying playmaker on defend duty. Really just wanted to give Pogba as much freedom as possible in the roaming playmaker role, which he's definitely suited for. He's got the stats all round for it. He's got incredible long shots and first touch, as well as passing and vision. So really, he's perfect for the roaming playmaker role. And then we're supposed to be playing with Shaw. It's supposed to be Bailly and Smalling in the centre-back positions, and Mario Fernandes, the player we bought in, should be starting in the right-back position. De Gea, of course, our first choice goalkeeper. But unfortunately for us, we've got a bit of a stumbling block in the beginning of the game. We've got the beginning of our season. We've got Smalling out, suspended for, I think, just one game because of his sending off last season. So normally he would have started first today. As well as Paul Pogba, also suspended because of his time in Italy. Unfortunately misses out for today's game, but both players should be back for the game after this, which is the game against Everton. Anyways, let's get into today's game. I've kept the tactics pretty simple. We're just going to be playing a bit of a possession sort of side. Arsenal have been made the favourites for this game, and started a really good team. They've got Cazorla, Xhaka, Ozil, Ramsey, Sanchez, and Giroud as well a pretty decent defence too. We're just going to mark the attacking midfield as Ozil because we need to get tight to him, just because he's playing in a position which really exposes our formation. But yeah, in terms of tactics, again, just really simple. The mentality is standard, but we've also got them training on mentalities, control and counter, depending on the match situation. But we'll always start with standard. Depending on how the game goes, we'll move it up or down according to what we need to do. In terms of team instructions, really basic, lower tempo, shorter passing. We've given them the freedom to be a bit more expressive. We'll see how that works. I might actually get rid of that depending on how the team performs. And roaming from positions is really important when you play as a possession side. But really, I'm just a fan of my attackers having complete freedom to just switch positions all the time and go according to where the space is. But yeah, let's get into today's game. I'm going to tell the players they need to give the fans their money's worth. Put on a good display for them. They've responded well. They're looking happy. They're looking motivated. And we'll just quickly set the replays on goals as well as close for you guys to watch. We'll have the highlights on key highlights. And let's get into today's game. Arsenal are going to be kicking off today's important, probably the most important opening game of the season. Pretty sure if this was real, all the Premier League fans would be watching this game rather than any other game. But anyways, Arsenal bringing the ball forward here. They're a bit of a possession side themselves, so they're just passing it around outside of our box. Giroud's got the ball now. He finds Ozil, and Ozil has an incredible shot, but thankfully De Gea deals with that, and that's probably... Oh, I thought that would have been a half chance, but apparently it hasn't been a half chance. Both teams holding on to the ball decently. It's been a bit equal, even though we're both possession-based sides. It's been 20 minutes now and no goals to show for it, but Arsenal do have a set piece and that they could score from. Giroud plays it to Ozil, who has another shot, and thankfully my defense deals with it, but it was ruled offside anyways. And yeah, it looks like Arsenal, as well as Ozil, have been having the better set of chances. They're going to have another chance here as Xhaka brings the ball forward, who plays Bellerin. Bellerin's going to try to find the man, but it's actually Shaw who steals the ball. Ibrahimovic could have set us on the break, but unfortunately not. And we win the ball back again, but Arsenal just being relentless here with the pressure. Sanchez finds Monreal, and Monreal finds Sanchez again. He's going to bring the ball forward here, and his incredible dribbling takes him all the way inside our box, but Fortunately, my team deals with it, and it was their half chance. We're not really playing well at all, so I'm just going to quickly pause the game here. We've only had 2 shots all game, so I think we're better off trying a control mentality just to increase our number of shots, and it looks like it's sort of worked for us here. We've got a set piece. Marshall plays Ibrahimovic, who plays Herrera, who plays Schweinsteiger, and that is us scoring our first goal under my leadership in our first Premier League game of the season, away from home against Arsenal. And yeah, we drew first blood. Hopefully we can hold on to this scoreline, maybe even get a second goal, the insurance goal, as I like to call it, just because of how tight the game would be if we held on to 1-0 all game. Herrera does well to find Schweinsteiger there, who just does well himself, really, to tuck it into the top corner. Peter Cech has no chance at that shot. But Arsenal look to get their revenge now with Alexis finding Giroud, who instantly finds the net, and Arsenal score only a couple of minutes after we've scored. Really should be defending better there, but Arsenal do well to take their chance. And as you can see here, Rojo not getting tight enough to Giroud, and De Gea probably should do a bit better there himself as well. But we find ourselves 1-1 going into the break. Can we respond? I think what I'll do is tell the players off, because as far as I know, in terms of match stats, we're really underperforming completely. I might actually switch to countering because our control mentality is not working at all. Arsenal also seem a bit susceptible to the counter, so I'm going to tell my players off first. Just give them a bit of a shouting. Tell them I'm far from pleased. Give them a bit of a boost as well, because the morale's not crazy good. They're only fairly good. It's not like they're superb or anything. And I'm just going to switch this to counter and see if we can respond after it. We will get the second half started, so we do have the ball. And unfortunately, that highlight amounts to nothing. It looks like it's going to be a bit of a tight game here. Some of my players underperforming. It's been 60 minutes, so really they've had plenty of time to perform. Mata in particular, we're going to take him off for Lingard. Lingard's an amazing advanced playmaker, really. He's got great vision, great passing. I just love that he can play in so many positions. I think eventually I'd like to move him to a winger position, but for now he's going to be playing as backup to Mata in the attacking midfield position. Mkhitaryan also not having a great start. I think Marino would agree with that. But we're going to bring on Depay as attacking the right winger. He's going to play as a winger for us instead, so we're going to quickly switch to Mario Fernandes as a fullback. There's no need for him to be a wing-back in that sort of position. And I think we'll just keep it for now, see how Ibrahimovic performs, as well as our midfielders. If anyone can step up now, this would be the time to do it. 60 minutes into the game, we need our second goal to get the 3 points. Not too pleased. Our shots have increased a little bit since switching to counter, so it seems to work, as well as Arsenal just sort of not really doing much after it. Ibrahimovic is struggling with a bit of an injury, so I just think I'll just bring on Rooney now instead of saving it for later. See if Rooney can have a bit of a performance, get a goal within 20 minutes time or so. But as the game, the clock's winding down, and Arsenal are going to have a chance here, and they've managed to score. So I think we instantly have to respond to that. I mean, they've scored through a set piece, so there's not much we can do there, but really just try and change my players' mentality and roles. Actually, their duties, sorry, but hopefully they can respond to going down. And it's not too pleasing since we actually scored the first goal of the game. But, you can't really do much when your team concedes an amazing set piece as that. As a manager, not much you could do about that, but hopefully the players can respond, and it looks like they'll have a chance to respond here. Instead, Herrera loses out to Alexis Sanchez, who finds Giroud. Giroud's going to bring the ball forward here, but Rojo wins it back. It looked like Rooney would have held on to that ball a bit, but unfortunately not, and it's Arsenal bring the ball forward here, and it looks like they're going to be the team to respond rather than us, but said that a bit early. Rooney finds Marshall on the break. Hopefully Marshall can find someone or actually score himself, but apparently he loses the ball out, and it's really just a lot of back and forth here. Lucas finds Bellerin on the right, who's going to find Lucas again. He plays Giroud through, and Giroud has his second goal of the game. And they're the ones who got the insurance goal, which I was trying to seek myself. And it looks like switching to attacking duties has actually left us not leave us, left us exposed in the back. And I might have to tell my players to play a bit narrow because they're just really exposed now. Let's see if hitting passes into space and hitting the early crosses will help us. Maybe we can expose Arsenal's high line. They're still playing with a 4-2-3-1. They're still having the majority of the chances, and really my players have not shown up for this game whatsoever, and it looks like it will end 3-1, hopefully not 4, but thankfully De Gea deals with that, and the referee is going to blow his whistle now, and it will end 3-1 to Arsenal. Not a great start by any means, but plenty of time to respond. I'm going to have to tell the players not to look back and worry about that result just because of the morale, as well as because I already told them off earlier on. It sends us straight down to the bottom of the table, so not a good loss by any means. Not that there would be any losses that are good, but unfortunately for us, Ibrahimovic has also been injured in that game. He's got a calf strain for 3 to 5 weeks, so he's going to be a bit of a, not even a bit of a loss. He's our main striker. He's a big loss. In terms of when I'll be back, might show, I like to keep between 5 to 7 games between each episode. So I might show the Chelsea game, but we might actually come back against City. I know that's a bit longer, but anyway, up to 10 games should be okay. Maybe the game against City. Also depends on who we're playing in the Europa Cup. Maybe I'll show a game of that in the Europa Cup. But really, we're not having a great start to our season here. Looks a bit tough, but later on it gets a bit better. And yeah, I think that'll be all for today. As always, if you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. And that'll be all. Thanks, guys.